good evening, and welcome. Tonight we're going to be checking back in with the 2022 Night Sky Almanac. Because it is the 1st of July, we have to see what we can expect in the night sky this month. So let's just dive right in and find the information on July. Did you all have a good June? You know, I saw something strange in the sky this month, about a week ago. I was just looking out my bedroom window, very small view of the sky, and I saw this, what I thought at first, when I first saw it, I thought it was an airplane. I realized it was a meteorite just like plummeting, this huge tail, and it lasted for about 4 seconds or so, and I was like, whoa. Then I realized that it didn't actually look like a meteorite. It was on fire, it was bright, orangey red. Usually meteorites are white and don't fall that slowly, so I'm thinking I might have saw some space junk falling back to Earth, or a really fiery meteor. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? It was really cool though. It's always neat to see something in the sky when you don't expect to. So that was my my spacey highlight of the month. Let's see what's going on in July. July's events. The Milky Way is now beautifully placed in the southern sky. Sagittarius and Scorpius are low in the south, and there are numerous targets to enjoy with the naked eye, binoculars or telescope. There are nebulae and clusters galore. Venus is still shining brightly in the eastern morning sky, while Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn are now nighttime targets, so long as you're willing to stay up late. By July 15th, Saturn begins to rise after 10 o'clock p.m. local time, sitting in Capricornus. Though on July 15th there is an almost full moon that will hamper the view, while Jupiter rises after midnight in Pisces. Earth is at aphelion on July 4th, when it is the farthest from the sun in its orbit. Contrary to what some may believe, Earth isn't farther from the sun in January. Interesting. After we look at the sky, I'll read to you about all the planets, since there's a lot in the sky this month, it seems, that we can view. Here's our moon calendar. You can see full moon on the 13th, new moon on the 28th. This month, perigee and the full moon once again occur on the same day, July 13th. Seaside dwellers will experience large tides in the days following. Apogee falls on July 26th, with the new moon falling on July 28th. So our full moon is going to look really cool again this month. On July 10th, a waxing gibbous moon will be roughly 2 degrees from Antares in Scorpius. On July 12th, the newly full moon will sit squarely in Sagittarius and will be 99.2% illuminated. Wow. On the evening of July 17th, look for Neptune in the same binocular field as the waning gibbous moon, 4 degrees above. A few nights later, on July 22nd, look for Uranus less than 1 degree north of the waning crescent moon at the crack of dawn. You can use binoculars or zoom in with the telescope to see the pair. At dawn on July 21st, the waning crescent moon and Mars will be about 3 degrees apart. Keen-eyed larks will enjoy a sliver of the moon roughly 3 degrees from Venus in the early morning sky on July 26th. The pair will be hugging the horizon in Gemini. Lots of planets to spot with the help of the moon. Isn't that so neat? So let's start by looking at the southern night sky. Here's what my southern hemisphere viewers will see when they look up. Let's read about it and find out the little constellations. It says, there's never a shortage of beautiful things to see in the night sky, but the summertime sky holds some of the best and most easily accessible sights. first we'll start with Sagittarius the Archer, which is well positioned in the southern sky. The constellation contains numerous naked eye targets and is an absolute thrill to view through binoculars. Sagittarius is easy to spot, as it looks like a teapot. Let's see. Let's find southern Sagittarius, or flipped over Sagittarius. There's the little teapot. That's what I was always taught. You look for the teapot to find Sagittarius. Let's see. The most notable and easy to spot feature is the Sagittarius star cloud, or Messier 24, found just north of the teapot's lid. This cloud is located 10,000 light years from Earth and is about 600 light years wide. You can't miss it in the dark sky locations. It's the fuzzy patch in the sky that looks like a cloud. That's the name. Through binoculars, it's even more astounding, even from a light polluted city. So that is located, see, Messier 24 right here. 24, just like the steam rising out of the teapot. The Swan Nebula, or Messier 17, also known as the Omega Nebula, can be found in Sagittarius above the lid of the teapot. This nebula is clearly visible through small telescopes. So wait a second. Messier 24 and Messier 17, do you see it? Oh, the Eagle, no, Swan Nebula. There it is, okay. Swan Nebula, and I think the next paragraph's about the Eagle Nebula. There is a lot to see right here, isn't there? Let's see what it says. Above that lies the Eagle Nebula, Messier 16. This is the subject of the Hubble Space Telescope's famous photograph, The Pillars of Creation. It is visible through large telescopes and is a favorite target of many astrophotographers. Yeah, if you know your astrophotography, you've seen this. It's like the Mona Lisa of Hubble photographs. And there's what it looks like from very far away. Let's see if we can see the pillars. Right here, it looks like. Right? That must be where the pillars are. Interesting. It's so tiny. I mean, not in real life, though. Just in the picture. The Lagoon Nebula, Messier 8, is a wonderful emission nebula also found in Sagittarius. Though faint, it can be seen unaided under dark sky conditions. It even has its own star cluster, NGC 6530, which is clearly visible through binoculars. Let's find that one. The Lagoon Nebula, right up here. Lagoon Nebula. So much is happening over here. Let's see what else. Then there's the constellation Scorpius, the Scorpion, which has plenty of beautiful star clusters of its own, including Ptolemy's cluster, or Messier 7, found between Scorpius and Sagittarius. It was named after the Greek astronomer and mathematician Claudius Ptolemy, who first recorded it in the 2nd century CE. And that is right there. So Messier didn't get a chance to name that one. Ptolemy got there way before Messier was even a thought. Interesting. Let's take a quick look at the rest of the sky, because even though this is clearly the most interesting little corner of the night sky this month in the southern hemisphere, there's still a beautiful Corona Borealis, bright Arcturus right there. Near the zenith you can see Vega, and all different kinds of little highlights. Anyway, let's check out the northern sky. See what we can see this month in the northern hemisphere. Ursa Major, the Great Bear, with its hard-to-miss asterism, the Big Dipper, is now beginning to sink toward the northwest, and Cepheus can be found in the northeast as it begins to look like a tipped-over house. Let's find the Big Dipper right here. That's super easy to spot no matter where you are in the nighttime. And then there's the Bear's Legs to make a big old bear. And then look at little Cepheus, the little house. I forget what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a house, but come on, that's a house. A little bitty house. Cygnus the Swan, another rich part of the Milky Way, is well placed high in the northeast, and the summer triangle with the stars Deneb, Vega, and Altair is easy to make out. So here is Cygnus the Swan, another really interesting constellation that has lots of different objects inside, but this is highlighting the summer triangle. You can see Deneb, Vega, Altair. Something fun to look for in the night sky that's not the Big Dipper. That's like the easiest thing to find. Let's see. Oh, and this talks about everything in Cygnus. Cygnus has a spectacular nebula in its midst, the Veil Nebula, or NGC 6960, 6992, and 6995, is a remnant of an ancient supernova that lies 2,100 light years away. It is found south of Sauder. I've never heard that name. The center star in the cross of the constellation. The Veil Nebula is actually made up of two parts, the Western Veil Nebula and the Eastern Veil Nebula. Altogether, it measures 10 light years across, the equivalent of 6 moons' light side by side. Viewing these nebulae requires dark skies and large aperture telescopes. So, Sauder's apparently the name of the star. The only star in Cygnus I know is Deneb. But there is the Veil Nebula, which has a lot to find in there if you have your large aperture telescope. Let's see. This is a picture of the summer triangle. Can you see it? It's like once you see it, you can't not see it anymore. Pegasus, with its distinct square shape, is beginning to rise in the northeast along with Andromeda. Yep, you can see Pegasus, big old horsey, is coming up. And so is Andromeda, and Andromeda's the best because then you can see the Andromeda galaxy with the naked eye, and it's gorgeous. If you find yourself in a dark sky location, try to spot tiny Delphinus the dolphin in the east and Lacerta the lizard, which lies between Cepheus and Hercules. Yeah, there's Lacerta, the lizard. That's cute. And what was the other one? Dolphinus. It said it was tiny. Between Cepheus and Hercules. There's Hercules. There's Cepheus. Where is it? Lacerta? Do you see it? Looking for Delphinus. Let's try to spot tiny Delphinus in the east. Oh, there it is. A tiny little dolphin way over there. That's not between... Well, I guess technically it's between Cepheus and Hercules, but I thought it would be over here. It is not. It is over here. It's cute, though. Wonderful. Arcturus will be super bright. And, what else? I mean, that's pretty much it for the summer sky in the northern hemisphere. Is kind of boring. It gets really exciting come autumn. There's so much to see. Basically, the summer sky is just Big Dipper. That's the most exciting thing to find. So why don't we learn a bit more about all the planets in our night sky? Let me flip to... Oh, and I've got this big old map of Mars you can see in the background. Isn't that neat? We'll definitely have to try to dissect that map at some point. Alright, I'm going to squish the book down. I'm more than halfway through with it. It's time to start squishing the book. So, the planets. As the planets, including Earth, revolve around the sun, there are a number of notable events that take place, each of which has a specific name and meaning. The inner planets Mercury and Venus never stray far from the sun. When either planet is farthest from the sun in the western evening sky, it is said to be at greatest eastern elongation. When either is farthest from the sun in the eastern morning sky, it is said to be at greatest western elongation. These are the best opportunities to view the inner planets, though Venus can be seen at other times. Venus is very easy to find. The term conjunction has a specific technical meaning. That is, when two objects have the same right ascension. But amateur astronomers also use the term casually when there is a close approach of two or more celestial objects. Yeah, that's the same ascension. Yeah, I gotta change my vocab because that's how I was describing a conjunction too, just when they're coming close together. Then there are oppositions, when the outer planets, which are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are opposite the Sun in the night sky in right ascension. Around opposition dates, the outer planets appear closer, brighter, and larger in diameter, great for telescopic viewing. The sky month-by-month section, which we just looked at July, lists the elongations, conjunctions, and oppositions throughout the year. So let's go over each planet and learn some facts about them. Mercury is a place of extremes. As the smallest of our solar system's 8 planets, at 1/3 the size of Earth, Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun, sitting an average distance of 58 million kilometers away. The planet, however, is only the second hottest one in our solar system. Mercury also orbits the Sun faster than any other planet and has the longest solar day, lasting 176 Earth days. Mercury has no moon. The planet's surface warms to 427 degrees Celsius, or 801 degrees Fahrenheit, at the peak of its noonday heat. On the far side, its temperature drops down to a chilly -163 degrees Celsius, or -261 degrees Fahrenheit. Mercury's coldest locations are deep in the shadows of the craters, where the Mercury surface, space environment, geochemistry, and ranging spacecraft mission to the small planet discovered ice, or messenger spacecraft. Cool. Temperatures in crater shadows are at -183 degrees Celsius, or -297 degrees Fahrenheit. Due to the planet's proximity to the Sun, Mercury is a challenging target to observe. When it is visible on Earth's sky, it appears in a narrow window of time in the dawn twilight just before sunrise, or in the evening twilight just after sunset, depending on whether it is west or east of the Sun in the sky. To observe Mercury, one needs a low horizon unobstructed by trees or buildings, as it is typically only 15 to 25 degrees away from the Sun when visible. Next month, I think I should read the page that tells you how to measure degrees in the sky with your hand, because that's a neat trick. Venus, the brightest planet in the sky, is a spectacular sight to see. So true. Known as both the morning star and the evening star, Venus is similar in size to Earth, but it's definitely not a place you'd like to visit. The planet is covered in dense clouds and, as a result, suffers from a runaway greenhouse effect. The planet's surface has temperatures of 460 degrees Celsius, or 860 degrees Fahrenheit, almost constantly. So that's the hottest planet. Venus spins in the opposite direction than the other planets, but very slowly. A day on Venus is longer than its year. One day takes 243 Earth days, while 1 year is 225 Earth days. Its orbit is on average 108 million kilometers from the Sun. Being shrouded in white clouds, there is nothing much to see on Venus, but binoculars and small telescopes reveal that Venus passes through phases similar to the Moon. Mercury also shows phases, but they're more difficult to see as the planet's disk appears so small. In 2022, you can see Venus in the sky beginning mid-January. By mid-April, Venus will be joined by Jupiter, blah, blah, blah. We've already passed that time. There is no other planet that fascinates humans as much as Mars. In 1894, American astronomer Percival Lowell thought he could see deep canals carved through its surface that he believed were evidence of intelligent life. Later observations with spacecraft saw no evidence of these canals. Mars is the most explored planet in our solar system, and some even like to joke that it's the only planet with an entirely robotic civilization of Earth-made machines. I've never thought of it like that. The orbiters, landers, and rovers dispatched to the red planet have taught us a lot about its ancient past. Though rocky, dusty, and seemingly devoid of any life, some evidence suggests Mars once had an ocean of water covering most of its northern hemisphere. Scientists sometimes cite the existence of water to suggest the planet was once habitable, though we have yet to find proof that life actually ever thrived there. Mars is about half the size of Earth, with a day very close to Earth's 24-hour day. It lies roughly 228 million kilometers away from the Sun. Small telescopes with a 70-millimeter diameter and below will show the red disk of Mars. A larger, good-quality telescope at high magnification will show surface features such as ice caps, dark basins, and light deserts. In 2018, Mars was the closest to Earth, also meaning it was at its brightest in Earth's sky, than it had been since 2003. In December 2022, the planet will once again have its closest approach and shine brightly in the sky, though it won't be quite as bright as it was in 2018. We'll have to remember that in December. Oppositions of Mars occur about every 2 years and 2 months. The 2022 opposition will occur December 8th. So perfect. It'll be in opposition and will be closer to Earth. So far from the Sun, but close to Earth. It'll be shining bright, bright, bright. Jupiter is the king of our planetary system at 11 times wider than Earth. This gas giant boasts the most spectacular storm formation in our solar system called the Great Red Spot. Jupiter orbits 772 million kilometers from the Sun, and a single day is about 10 Earth hours long. It orbits the Sun in about 12 Earth years. Jupiter is the second brightest planet in our night sky and is also one of the most enjoyable planets to observe. With a modest telescope, you can easily see the cloud bands in its atmosphere. But if you can even enjoy the planet through a pair of binoculars, if you watch the planet every night, 4 of its 79 confirmed moons, Ganymede, Io, Europa, and Callisto, can be seen changing positions night after night. The Great Red Spot, or the GRS, is a massive, swirling egg-shaped storm that has been shrinking for reasons that are unclear to astronomers. In the 1800s, the GRS was estimated at 41,000 kilometers along its long axis. NASA's Juno spacecraft measured the GRS at 16,350 kilometers in width on April 3rd, 2017. You can see it right there. Several astronomy apps predict the best time on any night for viewing the GRS through a telescope. Oh, okay, so just download an app apparently so you can see the GRS. Jupiter spends most of 2022 in Pisces and is in opposition September 26th at magnitude -2.9. And if you're willing to get up before sunrise, there will be a beautiful conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in the east. The pair will be roughly 1/3 of a degree apart, with Mars lying nearby to the right. That's really cool. With its magnificent rings, Saturn is often considered the jewel of our solar system. With a pair of binoculars, Saturn's pancake shape is evident. Look through a telescope, even a modest one, and its fine rings are clearly visible. If you've never done that, if you've never looked through a telescope and seen the rings, it's so mind-blowing. It's so strange and so cool. Saturn is 9 times wider than Earth and 1.4 billion kilometers away from the Sun. This gaseous planet has the second shortest day in the solar system, lasting roughly only 10.7 hours, while its orbit takes 29.4 Earth years. The planet also has more than 80 moons, though its largest, Titan, is the only one easily viewed through a modest telescope. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system. It's not the only planet to have rings. Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune all have ring systems, but it has by far the most spectacular ring system we can see. Saturn's rings are made up of billions of pieces of ice that range from tiny dust-sized grains to chunks as big as a house. The ring system is roughly 282,000 kilometers across, but only about 9 meters tall. There are several rings, mostly close to each other, but the main rings are called A, B, and C. The gap between the outer ring A and the first inner ring B is called the Cassini division, following the discovery by Italian astronomer Giovanni Cassini. Oh, interesting. Cool. Saturn spends all of 2022 in Capricornus and is at opposition on August 14th at magnitude plus 0.3. On April 5th, Saturn and Mars have a beautiful conjunction, but we've already missed that. Maybe some of you got to see it. Uranus is the faintest of the planets visible to the naked eye in dark sky conditions, and the third largest planet overall. This giant ice planet has 13 faint rings and 27 small moons. But most interestingly, Uranus rotates on its side at nearly a 90-degree angle. In 1781, Uranus was the first planet to be discovered with the aid of a telescope by astronomer William Herschel. However, Herschel first believed it was either a star or a comet. It was confirmed as a planet 2 years later by Johann Elert Bode. The planet is 4 times the size of Earth. A day on Uranus takes roughly 17 Earth hours, with one orbit taking 84 Earth years. Uranus orbits an average 2.9 billion kilometers from the Sun. Just as it did in 2021, Uranus spends all of 2022 in Aries, reaching opposition on November 9th, magnitude plus 5.8. At an average distance of 4.5 billion kilometers from the Sun, Neptune is the farthest planet in our solar system, taking about 165 Earth years to complete one orbit. Like Uranus, Neptune is roughly 4 times larger than Earth, and it too has a faint ring system. Neptune also holds the distinction as being the windiest planet in our solar system, with clouds of frozen methane being whipped across the planet at 2,000 kilometers per hour. A day on Neptune is about 16 Earth hours long. Neptune spends most of 2022 in Aquarius, never wandering too far from Jupiter. It reaches opposition September 16th at magnitude plus 7.8. So that's going to be it for tonight. So much to look for in the skies. Lots of planets around. So try to check them out this month. See if you can see anything. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a very good night. Good night. Good night.